Sure. I thought, Friday's game being 2-2 going into the third was, a good spot for us to be in. Third period, I thought got away from us. They capitalized on some opportunities, some of our mistakes. But certainly going that third period, I think we felt good about, our game to that point, scoring 2 goals. Saturday wasn't a good game for us. Certainly not what we wanted. So just kind of regrouping after the weekend, kind of resetting, tightening up some areas, especially defensively, has been a huge focus for us this week from that weekend. And then coming into this week, again, it's all about our preparation. And so a huge focus for us is just defensive play after our weekend. And, St. Cloud State, they're a skilled team, they're a physical team, they're a fast team, they're well coached. So, how we prepare this week is going to be really important as we get ready for puck drop on Friday.
Kind of going back to the Minnesota series, you played some of the top teams in the nation already, and you got really, really close on the cusp of a big upset. Does it feel like this group is really, really close to knocking off one of those big teams? Absolutely.
I think, when you look back on some of our games that we've had, some close games, the Ohio State game 2-1, there's been definitely some growth in a lot of areas. And so, when we look at that, celebrating those wins as far as making progress. And again, Saturday wasn't our day. I think it was a tough day for us overall. But again, just resetting and refocus this week. I think our group is refocused already and back to work on Monday and getting ready for the next opponent.
In those games where the upsets are close, you're right on the cusp of it. Is there a common thing, maybe a trend that's preventing you from getting over that hump, or is it kind of game to game and each game's a little bit different?
Yeah, I think, one of the things probably, I think it just depends on the game too, and how we show up and there's, different things that happen during games, whether it's special teams or all sorts of things. So I don't know if there's a common theme, but, again, for us this week, I would say the common theme from this past weekend and maybe a little bit of, the prior 2 weekends to that is just tightening up defensively, especially around our net front. If you look at where a lot of the goals are scored right now, it's in that area. So really focus on that. So I think of a common theme, I would say defensively tightening up, being more disciplined.
St. Cloud State is going to, I would imagine, look a little bit different than they have in years past with a new coach, kind of a new look roster too. They had to really reload after a big senior class. What do you expect out of this St. Cloud State team and maybe some of the new challenges that they posed this year compared to years past?
Sure. I think they're similar, but I think they continue to be a really physical team. I think they have a lot of players that can finish. They're well coached. And so I think it's very similar to what we've seen in the past, but also a little bit different too. They have really good goaltending. So it's, the importance of getting pucks to that net and winning those net front battles offensively too. But we know they're a top 10 team in the country right now. And so we know it's going to be a challenge, but we're excited about that challenge.
I think in years past too, you go into a series against St. Cloud State, even on the big ice, it's still going to be very tight, physical, not a lot of time and space, very defense first. And I think one thing I noticed with St. Cloud State this year is they are finding just a little bit more scoring. They scored 4 against Wisconsin this past weekend. Is that something that you guys are keen on, game planning for? Is, hey, maybe this team does have just a little bit of a touch more offensively this year?
Yeah, exactly. That's something that we're preparing for this week. Talking about what we took from last weekend, talking about being more disciplined defensively. They do have a lot of talented players that can put pucks in the net, and I think the game they had against Wisconsin, you saw that they're able to capitalize on their opportunities. They get pucks to the net anytime they have an opportunity to, and again, I think they're well coached and have the ability to put pucks in the net.
A couple weeks ago, you did pick up a ranked win over St. Thomas and played a ranked team last weekend and a ranked team this week. It's life in the WCHA, but does that win over St. Thomas, getting that ranked win, does that, and coming close against the Gophers on Friday, does that kind of build a little bit of that hunger for these girls? Like, hey, it's right there. We can go out and get this one.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that was, the game against Ohio State, the close game that we had with Ohio State, the win against St. Thomas, and then the 2-2 game going into third period. I think that gave our team confidence. I also think that it gave our team some motivation as well to continue to push, to elevate our standards and continue to push for having those opportunities in those games for, to continue to elevate in our league too. So I do think that certainly was a confidence builder, but I also think there's a lot of, I would say just fire in that room to want to continue for more.
Well, I think definitely what we've been talking about this week is like our net front is pretty important because just like in front of our net and the other team's net because we've been letting up a lot of goals in the net front. So I think if we focus on that and like the physicality part of it and just finishing and boxing people out, like we're gonna be better this weekend. Yeah.
Does it give the team any confidence knowing that you can play with these teams that just take the Beavers tie 2-2 in 40 minutes of play?
Yes. I think we're very confident in our abilities to be able to stay with good teams. And I think just the fact of like finishing out a game is what we're trying to work towards. And I think, we're just all really motivated and just hope we can take it to them this weekend. So, yeah.
What do you know about the Huskies so far this season?
Well, I mean, I do know that they are a ranked opponent. They're our ranked opponent, but like as we played other ranked opponents like St. Thomas and like the Gophers, Ohio, Wisconsin, I think they're very beatable though. I think that we're able to stay with those ranked teams, and I think we can definitely hopefully get some wins off of this weekend. Yeah.